All right, it's here. The official admission policy for IIM Ranchi's IPM class of 2026 is out. And if you're even thinking about applying, you're gonna wanna listen up. We are about to break down every single detail you need to know to get a major head start.
So first things first, let's do a super quick refresher. What is an IPM? Well, it's a 5-year all-in-one program that takes you straight from high school to an MBA. You start with a BBA for the first 3 years, and then boom, you transition right into the full MBA program, all on one of India's most prestigious campuses.
And that's the real magic of it, isn't it? The IPM is literally a direct pipeline into an IMM. You get to skip the whole process of finishing a different undergrad degree and then battling it out for the CAT exam. It is a genuine fast track into the world of elite management. Okay, so here's our game plan. We've broken this whole thing down into 5 simple parts. We'll start with the one piece of info you absolutely cannot miss. Then we'll walk through eligibility, the application process, the interview stage, and finally, what the 5-year journey actually looks like. Let's dive right in. First up, let's talk about the single most critical detail of this entire process. Seriously, if you get nothing else from this, get this. So here it is. IIM Ranchi does not have its own entrance test. It exclusively, and I mean exclusively, uses the scores from the IPMAT Indore exam. Let me say that again so it really sinks in. To even be considered for IIM Ranchi, you have to register for and take the IPMAT Indore 2026 test. There are 0 exceptions to this rule.
Okay, so you know which exam you're taking, but the next big question is, are you eligible? Let's take a look at the academic requirements and see if you make the cut.
The academic cutoffs are pretty straightforward. If you fall into the general or NC-OBC categories, you need a minimum of 60% in both your 10th and 12th standards. And for candidates in the SC, ST, and persons with disabilities categories, that minimum is set just a little lower at 55%.
Now, beyond just the percentages, there are a few other little details to keep in mind. If your board uses CGPA instead of percentages, the only official formula they'll accept is your CGPA multiplied by 9.5. For those of you who were promoted during the COVID period without exams, you can just write promoted in the form. And this one is critical. Make sure all your category certificates are valid and up to date when you apply.
All right, let's move on to the application playbook. I call it a playbook because this is more than just filling in boxes. It's a strategy. And trust me, getting this part right is half the battle won.
The source material gave this very stark warning, and you need to hear it loud and clear. If you make a mistake, you have to reapply. Let that sink in for a second. There is no edit button. One tiny error means you have to cancel your entire application, you lose the fee, and you have to start all over again from scratch. The stakes are incredibly high.
So, with that in mind, here is your 4-step process. First, and this is key, you register for the IPMAT Indore exam on their portal. Only after you've done that can you go over to the IIM Ranchi portal. Then you'll sign in, fill out that form with, you guessed it, extreme care, and finally pay that non-refundable fee and hit submit. It's simple and sequential, but precision is everything. Now, let's clear up something that trips up so many people every year, the fees. Listen, you have to make 2 completely separate payments. One is the exam fee that you pay to IIM Indore for actually taking the test. The other is the application fee that you pay to IIM Ranchi. That's 2,500 rupees for general categories and 1,250 for reserved categories. They are not the same thing. And here it is, the date you need to circle in red on your calendar. The portal closes sharp at 2 p.m. on April 12, 2026. My personal advice? Just pretend the deadline is April 11th. Do not wait until the last minute and risk some random server issue or power cut costing you your entire application. Okay, so you've cleared the exam, your application is flawless, and now you face the final hurdle, the personal interview. This is where they look past your scores and your grades to really see who you are as a person.
This year, IIM Ranchi is going back to offline interviews, and they'll probably happen in June or July. And here are the 5 cities where you can choose to have your interview: Mumbai, Delhi, Ranchi itself, of course, Bengaluru, and Hyderabad. So you can start thinking about your travel plans way ahead of time.
Let's shift gears now. Let's imagine you made it through all the stages. Congratulations! But what are the next 5 years actually going to be like? Let's take a look inside the program, talk about the costs and the support systems they have in place. So the program is really split into 2 phases. The first 3 years are all about building that solid BBA foundation. You'll cover core business subjects, but also humanities and social sciences. Then, at the end of the third year, you hit a checkpoint. You have the option to exit with just a BBA degree. To move on to the MBA phase, you need a minimum CGPA of 4.5. If you make the cut, years 4 and 5 will throw you right into the deep end with the regular MBA students doing the full curriculum.
All right, let's talk about the investment. Based on last year's numbers, the first 3 years of the program cost about 17.25 lakhs. The final 2 years will cost whatever the regular MBA fee is at that time. Now, I know that's a significant number, but it is not the full picture. Because this is the other side of that coin. IIM Ranchi has a 1 crore rupee annual scholarship fund. They offer a ton of different need-based and merit-based scholarships, which means that talented students from all kinds of financial backgrounds have a real path forward.
And we'll end with one final piece of absolutely crucial advice straight from the source. They strongly recommend that you wait for their official form-filling guide video before you even think about starting your application. Remember that no corrections rule? This is why. It's much, much smarter to be patient and get it right the first time.
So we've covered it all. The exam, the eligibility, the application, the interview, and even what life is like in the program. You now have the complete playbook right in front of you. So the only question left to ask is this. Now that you know the entire process, what is your very first step going to be to prepare for this incredible opportunity?